Welcome to Vegas. How can you get sick of this? There's the Paris behind. You got Planet Hollywood just over there, the Venetian. We're here at the Cosmo, and it doesn't get old, this thing. Third year of the NRL coming to Las Vegas, and it seems as though it's as big as ever. And we knew today was going to be a show with a difference with myself over here, but we didn't anticipate what was going to happen over the last few days. And we just want to send a message out to our buddy and colleague, Joel Kane. And you have the support of a lot of people, Joel, in rugby league. Joel just putting himself on the bench for a little while until he gets himself right. And whether it takes a week or a month or a year, there'll be certainly a seat waiting here. And he's a much-loved person, Sean Ormerod, in the game of rugby league, and we miss him already.
Yeah, ditto, Dan. Well said. Obviously, on behalf of everyone here at Sportsbet, he's a colleague of ours, but first and foremost, he's a mate. That's the sort of guy he is. Everyone loves him, so we just want you to know, Joel, we're thinking about you. We're here for you. Can't wait until you're back right next to us, and you'll be back bigger than ever. So cannot wait for that. But Dan, He would hate us speaking about him. So let's get to the real stuff. Vegas, I have to live vicariously through you over the next sort of 48, 72 hours. Tell me what it's been like. How was the flight? You know, I need details. How was the flight? What seat number were you?
I got to say, right, so I don't want to sound at all like a blasé, but when you do something for the third time, it's probably not going to be as exciting as the first time in anything in life, right? So I think there was a bit of a feeling among the people that had been there the first 2 years, right? That here we go again. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, but been there, done that. There's a little bit of been there, done that. Then you get to the airport, which for us was on Tuesday, and the energy in the airport in Sydney with all the Bulldogs fans particularly, but a lot of Dragons fans as well, and it's their first time going, and it takes you back to the first time and how exciting it is, and it kind of dawns on you. You're walking through the airport and you're thinking, how absurd is this? We're about to get on a plane to the other side of the world to watch NRL. There is still something crazy about it. And ticket sales, I think, are about the same as last year. So the fans haven't poured in yet because as we record, it's Tuesday. I'll give it away. So left on a Tuesday, got here this morning on Tuesday. I haven't slept for about 40 hours, so apologies if I'm a bit off the planet during the show. I can either sleep for 8 hours on a plane, Sean, or I can't sleep at all, and I got the latter today. But tomorrow, normally, if years 1 and year 2 are any example, that's when the fans really take over Vegas, and it really does feel like Magic Round in America. So today, a little quieter, but still plenty of fans around. But tomorrow's when it feels like it really begins.
Gee, I'd really kill for that feeling, Dan. You've really rubbed salt into the wounds, just letting me know that I haven't been there. This is now 3 years in a row I haven't been on that plane. You weren't part of the Qantas flight that had to be diverted, turned around back to Sydney. Did you dodge that? Carry on. Have you heard about this?
Yeah, I heard about it. So there was a flight, I know with the Qantas flights, one at 10:40, one at 1 o'clock, which was what I was on and most of my Fox colleagues. And then I believe it was the one at 3:20. Which had PVL and Andrew Abdo and other luminaries. So I don't know what happened there. That's frustrating. That's a frustrating one. But they'll be okay. Nice and cold. That's the poor fans who got this anticipation, paid for a night of accommodation. I don't know how long they stayed in Sydney for, but they'll forget it once they land here in Vegas. Or one in LA and come over to Vegas, they'll forget about a quick smart and it'll be all worth it in the end. Now, I've got to say, big thank you to everyone that watched our preview, which we broke up over 2 parts. And I didn't see the numbers, Sean, of how many people watched us, whether it was on one of the Fox League repeats during the trial period or on the regular podcast. But here's how I know it had a big audience, Sean, because every bloody thing we bet on, the market came in. Every top team, top try scorer, I'd look on there, $7 became $6.50. $23 became $19. So obviously, Sean, we've had an impact on the market here.
Yeah, the punters listen. I can guarantee I can tell you, Dan, confirm the numbers were airborne across all platforms, Fox League, KO, you name it. And one bloke in particular, Macassini, I think he might have been put up $67 top NRL try scorer. That might be floating around on the feed somewhere. That's given a nice little haircut before we've even sort of thrown a ball in anger over there in Vegas. But yeah, all the markets there, all the feed bets are up for the futures. Or the preview show that we did. Should we talk some futures? I know we're going to talk about the Vegas games in depth, but there's a couple of new markets that I want to touch on, so let's do some futures forecasting. This is brand new this year, where Sportsbet, the traders, have been very, very busy. You can actually design and pick your own ladder. So we've got top 4, top 8, and also bottom 4, which I'm going to clip you very soon, Dan, about your positivity this year, not actually selecting a bottom 4. But let's start with mine. This is how I've shaped the 2026 NRL ladder. As you can see there, I've got the Chooks. I was very bullish about the Chooks on the preview show. I think they're by far and away the best team on paper. The question is, can they put it together? I've got them sitting on top. The Panthers, well, they pretty much speak for themselves. 3rd and 4th, Bulldogs, that's going to be all built on their defence. The Sharkies, cushy draw. Now, this is where it gets a little bit spicy maybe for me, and I think we might be in agreement with a few of these. I've got the Broncos, the Premiers, obviously missing the top 4, the Melbourne Storm. I feel like this is almost a shooting Bambi scenario. Whenever you leave the Melbourne Storm out of your top 4, because we sort of try and do it every year, but you just can't. But this might be the year that they fall over. And then the 2 teams on the rise for me, the Bunnies, love what I saw in their trial with that left edge, and the Finns just sneaking in. And of course, with the yin, you got a yang as well. So the bottom 4 as well. A couple of teams that are over there in Vegas with you, Dan. The Newcastle Knights in 14th, the Titans and the Dragons to maybe fight it out to near last, but I've got the North Queensland Cowboys collecting the spoon this year, Dan. How have you seen it in a real positive light? Because I know you're against doing your bottom 4. You're all about positivity in 2026.
Well, I'm not doing a bottom 4, right? I've just made that decision. I'll tell you why. Because I'm an NFL tragic. The scam that the leading expert, not the play-by-play guys, but the leading expert commentators are running. They don't tip games, right? So Troy Aikman is a phenomenal expert commentator. He's on ESPN now with Joe Buck. They used to be on Fox. And ESPN aren't even doing the Super Bowl. So he's just on as a guest, and he refused to pick a winner. So with that in mind, why should I piss off 4 fan bases, right? So I'm not going to. I'm not going to pick a bottom 4. A top 8. Look, Sharks again have got a pretty soft draw, but I actually think they're going to be pretty good this year. Right? There's no reason to think they're going to go backwards. Same with the Bulldogs. Obviously, the test for the Sharks and the Bulldogs in September. Look, I have real doubts about Melbourne, but 17 top 4s out of the last 20. I'm just going to take them, and basically, you take them until they let you down. Look, I wanted to have a new segment on the show, Get Them Onside Confessional, where we confess things that we know we've got wrong. I already know I went too hard for the Warriors. Okay.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Are you already backpedaling on this? Come on, stick fat.
No, I have to now, but I have doubts. And look, I know you're not supposed to pay any attention to trials, but I think there's no question Gold Coast are going to be able to defend a bit this year, based on what I saw. Not only have they got Josh Hannah, they've got a new defensive coach, so I think they're going to be much better. I still think they'll be near the bottom because they have no depth, but that's my top 8. Dolphins in Canberra. I could give or take Canberra. I'm not anti-Canberra. I think they're going to be around 13 and 11, 12 and 12. So they're going to be in and around the mark. Now, Tryscorer, I have a strategy here. I tend to look for the non-favourites because it's so hard to pick. So I've gone with Selwyn Cobbo, and I'll tell you why, right? I think the Dolphins are going to be a point-scoring machine. They were last year, and I think they're better this year, and he's going to be on the left wing, Jack Bostock's position. And my thinking is if he's playing as well as he can play by the time Bostock comes back, I think there's a good chance Cobbo goes into the centres come mid-season. So I like my chances. They're going to score so many points. You've gone, let me guess. I didn't see it. I'm going to guess you've gone for a rooster.
No, I haven't. I did think about going for Marky Mark, but that looks a little bit too skinny. I'm tipping them obviously to do big things this year, so there should be plenty of tries, but I loved what I saw from that left edge from the Bunnies. Well, it's been one of the hottest, apart from the Dolphins last year, who probably usurped them in that category. It's been the hottest left edge for probably 4 or 5 years. And we're going back there. When you add a bloke called Dave Fafita to that edge, which we saw in the trials, looked good. Cody Walker looked electric down there as well, which we love to see. Latrell's going to be playing left centre. The bloke, the biggest beneficiary of all that, Alex Johnson. He's going to break the record at some point this year, maybe very, very early. He was. Now, the caveat, we saw $8 on the graphic, Dan, but the caveat is, if you're on the feed early and you've hit copy, I was up there at $12. So we've got a nice little price for ourselves for all those early followers on the feed. That's what you got to do. Get on there early and you get all the best prices.
Explain that again, Sean. So what do? They go to your feed and they copy your bet and they get the better price.
They go straight to the sports bet feed, give me a follow, get my numbers up. There might be a little financial arrangement there to get my followers up, Dan. You never know. Hit copy, but we're all about price here. On Get 'em Onside, Dan. You know that. Get the early price and you've done half.
What a hypocrite you are. No. I'm going to say this. All trials on our feed, you bagged me for saying things about teams during trials. Oh, you don't pay any attention to trials. South looked good once, and they did look good. They look damn good. I mean, they're going to be one of the most exciting teams in the premiership if they stay healthy. And then bang, Alex Johnson, top try scorer. But I do like the price. Top point scorer. Again, Dolphins. I'm all in on the Dolphins in terms of points. So Jermaine Azarko, $3.10. He's a winger and he's a great goal kicker. So that's good enough for me. Juicy prices, I've got to say, Sean. If you want someone outside of Azarko, it's some pretty good value.
Yeah, there's some big numbers there. One bloke that I would probably talk you out of backing, and his second pick, Nick Meaney for the Melbourne Storm. We know Zach Lomax is going to lob there at some point, and I think it's probably going to be round 2 after they've got Parramatta out of the way. And you would think he's going to go straight into that side. He's going to assume the kicking duty. So maybe you'd be looking elsewhere from Nick Meaney. I've gone the Souths again. I just think that left edge is going to be on fire. We know Latrell is a try scorer. If he scores a few tries himself, he's a good goal kicker. That's going to be close. It's going to go very close to winning. And at a big, juicy price, Dan, I don't mind a bit of Latrell at $18, top point scorer.
All right, very nice. Now let's get to Vegas. And we've still got a small sample size, only 4 games to sort of pick through. And you look at overs and unders, and the someone's hooning down on the on Vegas Boulevard. It's hard to work out if the field size. I still think it is having an effect on these games, and it's sort of an anomaly. The fact, Sean, that we have had a couple of high scorers.
Yeah, I think we've split the difference. In the 4 games, I think 2 have been unders, 2 have been overs. So it does leave you in a sort of tricky position to try and get a really good read on it. And we spoke about it heavily. I remember doing this show for the first Vegas edition, and we were really heavy on the field size, what sort of impact it was going to have. And it sort of went quiet last year, but we're going to get to the Bulldogs game a little bit later. If there's a team that's really going to be the beneficiary of a smaller field, it is the Bulldogs. Their defence is just red hot. We've been through their defensive metrics ad nauseum, really, and they're going to be a huge beneficiary of that. We're seeing some highlights from Vegas last year, and this one was a pretty high-scoring game. So there are outliers, but I think particularly the width of the field is going to have a big impact. Maybe not in the first game, Knights and the Cowboys. We've got a brand new looking Knights attack and a Cowboys side that is a bit leaky in defence, shall we say. So I think that might lend itself to higher scoring, but I think you can pick your battles here and find an edge that this field size will have an impact on.
All right, let's go. Newcastle, North Queensland, 1:15 New South Wales, 12:15 Queensland, the season opener. The interesting stuff here, Shauno, is in the halves. Fletcher Sharp gets the number 6 jersey. So Sandon Smith starts the year at 14. So it's Sharp and Brown. And I like that Clifford has been paired with Dearden. Their winning record is so much better with Clifford and Dearden the halves. I know Todd Payton is desperate for Jackson Purdue to graduate to the halves, but putting him in the centres where he basically scores a try a game. I kind of like the Cowboys here, Sean, because I sort of know what I'm going to get from them. Newcastle, I'm not sure yet. And it might just take a little while for these players to gel.
Yeah, that's the one query. I'm pretty big on them in this game, purely just because you're getting such a big number head-to-head, and plus 4.5 is a line. I'm pretty happy to take that. The question is, does the attack gel straight away? It's the first time we're going to see the sort of trio of Sharp, Ponga and Dylan Brown play together. I'm pretty comfortable with all those three as individual players that it will click. They're all guns, we know that. And on the flip side for the Cowboys, their defence, I have been banging on it for a while, and we cashed in a few times last year off the back of their leaky defence, particularly long-range tries. There was no worse team in the comp last year than the Cowboys at conceding long-range tries. 22, Dan, for the year, almost going one per game. That is just awful. Now, the pitch may have a bit of an impact here with tighter defences, but they were leaky all over the park. And if there is one bloke on this Newcastle side, well, there's a couple, to be fair, but there's certainly one. Fletcher Sharp. Doesn't matter to me what number he's got on his back because he sort of plays the same style. He can make a line break himself and go the length, or he's always there in support, which I love, particularly against the Cowboys. He could have a real field day. If it does start to open up late against the Cowboys, which it did all last year, he could have some fun against them.
Correct me if I'm wrong, he was their top try scorer last year and he missed 10 games. He had something like 11 in 14, up somewhere around the mark there. Dylan Brown looked sensational for New Zealand in the halves, really running the show. You had Kieran Foran there, but it's, the pressure really starts when you're the $13 million man. North Queensland, great to see Hilam Lukey back. No Nene. Josh Bateman, not good enough for the 17. And Griffin Neame named at 18. He's been injured, so I don't know if there's a bit of funny buggers going on there. But that's the way they're looking. Now, this is a try you pay no attention to because Penrith played a bunch of kids and the Cowboys, with their top liners, absolutely slaughtered them 66-24. But, hey, they put on some nice tries. So, not the worst result. But we'll see how good that is in terms of preparation for round one on the other side of the world. Right, let's look at some bets here. You go first, please, with your flair.
Yeah, I teased it. I'm pretty bullish about the Newcastle Knights here. And if you backed them 13 plus every game last year, well, you've done your money. But I'm doing it first up in Vegas. Leaky Cowboys defence. I think that new look attack can actually put some points on the board. And that vision that we just saw of the bloke before, Fletcher Sharp, he just has to go in, try scoring bets. That's my flair there. Dan, what do you got for me?
The line is perfect, right? 4.5, because I think the Cowboys are a little better and a little more trustworthy at this stage. So I went either team to win by 4 or less. I actually think this is a golden point candidate, Shauno. I think this is a real golden point candidate game. I know that's an odd thing to say because how do you know? But that's the one thing we haven't had yet in Vegas, a golden pointer. So I thought I might get better than $3. But anyway, either side by 4 or less. Cowboys have won their last 5 against the Newcastle Knights. What we're going to do, we're going to take a break. And we're going to come back and preview the second game. The Bulldogs against the Dragons and our best bets coming up as well. You're watching Get 'em Onside's Vegas Preview. Get 'em Onside from Las Vegas, Nevada. We'll be back for our normal show. Well, this is a pretty normal show, but we'll be back in the Sydney studio next week. Shauna, is the beautiful Ness, is she obsessed with this JFK show like every other woman in Australia is right now? The love story, the story of JFK Jr. and Carolyn Bessette?
No, not familiar with it. What are we? Are you recommending?
Yeah, I want you to notice something in the office, out and about in the CBD of Sydney. I think this show is having such an impact. I think women are dressing differently. I think now there is a lot of women I've noticed in the last 2-3 weeks. A lot of plain blacks, a lot of classic sort of looks. because this Carolyn Bessette they love, and they love JFK Jr. But the 90s music is unbelievable in this show. Maybe it's just because I'm of that era, but I recommend it. It's trash. It's wonderful trash. It's on Disney. I just recommend it. That's my television recommendation for this week. Let's go to Canterbury and St George Illawarra. Pretty good rivalry, actually, to take over to Vegas. I don't like burning rivalries, but these two clubs asked for this game and they've got it. So it's a pretty attractive game in terms of the fan support that will be there. $1.36, though. Canterbury's probably the hottest favourites there's been in a Vegas game, I would imagine. I don't think there's been an 8.5 point favourite. You can see there, you get a little bit of value, actually, if you think the Dogs are going to do this handily. And I think we might be aligned on the same page here, because I actually think their defence is going to suffocate the Dragons here, and 8.5 won't be enough.
Yeah, we are aligned there. I'm not fully convinced. I'm not fully sold that Matt Burton will take the field. Like, why? That hamstring injury was only, 2 weeks ago? He's been on a plane for 20 hours, other side of the world. Like, for week one, when they've got to bye the following week as well, you can get him cherry ripe. It does feel a little bit risky, but he's been named, so we'll take them on their word. Yeah, it does look skinny to me. And I know trial form is one thing. You try not to get sucked into it, but that Charity Shield match, it's hard not to just let that seep into your thinking here. And based on what we saw with that field size dimensions, their defence last year, it is just so watertight. It's basically an extra defender as well. When you take 5 metres off that field, the width of it, Dan, like you're throwing in an extra defender, and that's one thing you don't want to do to the Bulldogs. Already a lead attack, struggle to see where the Dragons are scoring points. This is the one where I think we might see a bit of a margin.
Yeah, the thing about the Dragons, though, they have managed to score points against Canterbury the last, the two games last year. They scored 20 against them at Cogra, albeit it was 28-6 at one point. And then last year, they really troubled Canterbury late in the season. It was the game where Lockie Galvin threw a ball at the end. And Canterbury, that was a miraculous win, really, because St George Illawarra did everything but win that game, and there was a controversial penalty. So a lot of ball movement in their own half. It's strange that St George Illawarra would be the team that sort of found a way to knock off the Bulldogs. I'm looking at the teams here. Leo Thompson, not playing, so it's a Max King, Sam Hughes front row combination, which is basically what they had been serving up coming into this season. It's a pretty good looking side. Also fascinating, and it's probably not going to have any impact on how we bet early, but it'll be interesting to see with the 18th and 19th man, the 6-man squads, if there are any tactical replacements as opposed to just typical rotation. Lycan King Tongia is the 18th man for the Dragons. David Farlow, the centre, the 19th. O'Sullivan and Turpin, which I think is going to be pretty normal. We're going to have a halves player and a hooker probably as those two extra players. Right, flare bet.
My flare bet, Dan, we're looking at 0 points for the Dragons, purely based off the Bulldogs' rock-solid defence. I have thrown up a little bit on the feed as well, 0 to 10 for the Dragons, but we want to get fruity here. That's what we're about here with the flare bets. 0 points for the Dragons at a big old price as well.
That was very profitable, particularly for Joel, but geez, we nailed that a couple of times last year. I'm thinking along the same lines, but you can't be cheering for all these St George Illawarra fans to fly 12,000 kilometres to not see a damn point. So I've taken -8.5 because I do think the Dogs will suffocate them. And it's not a bad price, actually, $3.70. So minus 8.5 for the Dragons. Best bets time. Right. I don't know who goes first here, Sean. So how about you kick us off?
I can kick off. Give me the new ball. And I'm all about just getting bat on ball here, Dan, because I'm very keen on the Knights at the price head-to-head. But we're just going to take a little bit of insurance. It's the first game of the year. Bat on ball. Let's try and get in profit nice and early. Newcastle Knights +4.5, although I will be tipping them head-to-head as well. What's your best bet over there in Vegas?
Double that with the under. Unders, I know it's anti-football when you bet unders, but they were so good to me last year. Knights, which one am I going? Bulldogs, Dragons, of course. Bulldogs, Dragons, under. because Canterbury aren't known for completely obliterating teams as well. So getting the under there. Right, we're done. Thank you very much, Sean Ormerod. We'll be back closer to normal next week. Don't forget, you can see us on the feed, all our bets, and we're back as per normal next Thursday after Matty Johns. So Thursday night footy, Matty Johns, and then us. See you, Sean.
Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.